Hello Year 9 and welcome to this video which is going to talk you through the lesson on how we can reduce crime. Make sure that you're writing the title in your book and you underline it and you write the correct date in the top right hand corner and you also underline the date as well. Remember that presentation is really important because it shows pride in your work, but also it makes it far easier to read when you come to look back over your notes for revision or for checking. So today's lesson is going to be all about how we can reduce crime. We're going to look at the different measures that are available to people to help prevent crime happening. And we're also going to look at the different groups of people who would be responsible for putting that into play. So in your books, below the title, I want you to draw a spider diagram with reducing crime in the middle of it. Then around it, write down as many different types of reducing crime or preventing crime that you can think of. And you can pause the video while you do this. Also around the spider diagram, but in a different colour, can you think about the different groups of people who can help to reduce crime? And try and think of many different groups as possible. Again, pause the video and play when you're ready. So hopefully, even with that little starter exercise, you're starting to think about there are many different ways to reduce crime and many people who are responsible for helping to reduce and prevent crime. Now what we're going to do is make a copy of this table, and there should be 16 spaces in total because there are 16 different measures we're going to look at. There is one on the Firefly page that you can print out if you want to make it easier. So make a copy of this, pause the video, and when you've done, then you can press play again. So before we get onto the photographs, here are some of the different groups that could be responsible for helping to reduce crime. It could be the people that own the property. So think about the things that they could do. What could the government do to help reduce crime? They're responsible for making the laws. It could be the police force. How could they help to reduce crime? It could be the local council. They might be responsible for working with the police force or the different things that they would be involved in. These could be things such as youth clubs as well, which can help to keep kids like you off the streets and give them something to do so they don't get bored. It could be what you could do as an individual. What could you do to help yourself not be a victim of crime? And what could other local interest groups do as well? So as we go through and we see the different images, think about who might be responsible for using those types of crime prevention. Now, all of these images are on your Firefly pages. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you some time to have a look at them and then think about, okay, what is the crime prevention here? How is it going to work? And then who would be responsible for doing that? So I'd like you to pause the video before I give you the answers when you're ready, and you can press play. So pause the video now. So in picture number 1, we have the police. Now these might be the responsibility of the police and the local councils, and the government can also be responsible for increasing the numbers of police and giving them guidance. But these can go round and the patrols can put people off doing the crime, but they can also be responsible for helping to catch the criminals. They can also help in going to inform local people if crime is going on and what they can do to help reduce crime. So giving them locks to fit or giving them advice. Number 2 is a large fence. Now this is something that somebody that owns a property could do to make it harder for people to get into and get back out of as well. Number 3 is neighbourhood watch, the nosy neighbours. Now if you have these stickers up and if you as a community look out, this means that anybody who's likely to do a crime may be more concerned that they're likely to get caught if they've got people looking for them. So this is a way of encouraging the neighbourhood to work together to try and spot if anything bad is going on. Number 4 is being able to have better strength of windows and locks on your doors to make it harder to break into. For example, double glazing is much more difficult to break than single pane glass, and double glazing often has better locking systems within it. But who would be responsible for fitting those? That might be the people who own the property, or the people who own the property if they're landlords. Now these might be a bit more difficult. Do you know what these are and how these could reduce crime? So again, write them in the table. You can pause it and then play when you're ready to check your answers. So in number 5, what we have are different types of lock. The red one is what we have is a steering wheel lock. Don't see them as often now, but these would go into your steering wheel so people wouldn't be able to turn it if they broke into your car. The one down below that, by the number 5, is a D-lock, which is commonly used on bikes. When you go out, you can attach them to something solid and it will prevent them being taken. Number 6 is a clothes tag, something that shops will install, and it means that the alarm will go off if people try and steal the clothes, or sometimes they're covered in dye as well, so if they go out of the shop without paying for it, it will ruin the clothes. So that's reducing the reward. Number 7 is a tracker device, which you can put onto your belongings or cars, or you can even track other phones as well. So if it does go missing, then you're able to track where it is and try and recover it and maybe catch the people who've taken it. And number 8 is easy, is a CCTV. Again, it can catch criminals, but the main role of these is to try and put criminals off. Because there is a higher chance of them being seen and therefore being caught, then it may reduce the amount of crime in that area. And the next set of pictures for you. Have a look, work out what you think and how they would reduce crime, write them in your table. Pause the video and then play when you're ready to check your answers. So pause now. So number 9 is a prison. Hopefully none of you will see that from the inside unless you work there. But this is a way of trying to put people off crime by the punishments that they will be given if they get caught. Obviously, we've talked about which crimes are most serious, and one way of judging how serious a crime is by looking at the length of sentence that people may get if they get caught. Number 10 is another burglar alarm. It's another way of trying to reduce the amount of crime. It won't catch people doing it, but because it makes a loud noise and it might send people round, it might prevent people from trying to break in the first place. For 11 and 12, these are both designed to do a similar thing. They're both designed to reduce speeding, but they try and do it in a different way. Number 11 are sleeping policemen, they used to be called, or speed bumps. And these will make it very difficult for you to speed because they damage the car and make the ride very uncomfortable. So it's forcibly slowing you down. 12 doesn't stop you speeding. What it does do is it will, if you catches you speeding, then you will get a fine and points on your license. And if you get too many, then you'll be stopped from driving. But this also acts as a deterrent because the police will often put a large sign before they have the speed cameras there. So these signs can act as a deterrent and will actually slow people down as much as them getting caught. And the last set of photos. Again, pause the video while you write your ideas down in the table and play when you're ready. So pause now. So 13 is a PIR or movement light. This little section at the bottom will pick up any movement and the light will come on as soon as it spots that. Again, people don't like the thought of being caught and being seen when they're committing a crime, so it may put them off. It's not going to stop them doing the crime, but it could put them off. And this is something that people who own property are likely to fit themselves. Number 14 is a tag. and it's very similar also to an ASBO, or an antisocial behaviour order. And these are designed to be able to track people and stop them going to certain places. If they do go to certain places, then they will probably go to jail or get in more trouble. So these are a way of trying to stop the offenders committing more crime. Number 15 is perhaps one of the most important ones for you in the future. And this is making sure that you protect your username and passwords to make sure that fraud can't happen. So people can't break into your accounts and steal your money, or can't take your identity and try and do illegal things that way. Number 16, the final one, is very similar to number 13. These are lights. However, these street lights would actually be put in place by the council rather than the local property owners. So this is an example of the same kind of crime prevention, but carried out by different groups. So how did you get on? Did you get most of them right? And did you also get the groups who would be responsible for them? If not, make sure you're using your red pen to correct your answers. So we've seen lots of different ways to reduce crime. The next thing we can do is categorize these into different measures. One of them is reducing opportunity, taking away those quiet, dark spaces and making criminals feel less likely that they're going to want to do it there because there's a high chance of them getting caught. Target hardening is all about making it harder to carry out the crime. So making it more difficult, meaning they have to spend more time, which is going to increase the amount of time they have to spend and increase the likelihood of being caught. Reducing the rewards is making it so crime doesn't pay. So therefore, if they do it, they're not going to benefit from it. And finally, punishment. If they get caught, what is going to happen to them? And these are all ways of trying to reduce the amount of crime. So have a look back through your table now. You could use a key system of using different colours. So you could use blue for reducing opportunity. And if you think your measure is about reducing opportunity, then colour that in blue. Write key at the bottom of it with these 4 things, 4 different colours, and then try and categorise them. Pause the video, and then when you're ready to check your answers, you can press play again. So pause now. So how did you get on? Have a look at the answers here, compare them to the answers that you've got in your book, and correct any that you may have wrong. But remember, some of them may fit into more than one category. So if you can explain your answer clearly, then you may have got it right. The next activity is to do a quick write-up to explain the different ways that people can reduce crime. So it's putting all the information we've done into a number of paragraphs. So we always start off with an introduction, and this is to just tell people what the article or what the information is all about. So there are 4 main ways in which people can help to reduce crime. These include, and so you would now put the 4 different categories. Then each paragraph is going to relate to a different category of helping to reduce crime. So you can see here I've started off with a bit more detail. A key way to reduce crime is to reduce opportunity. These can include things as, so here you're trying to give examples. So look back at the previous table. What examples could you use there? And then you need to explain how this would help to reduce crime. So it might be you put a couple of examples and explain how these reduce crime. Then to show further understanding is then you can write down who these measures would be put in place by. Would they be the police, the government, the local council, landlords or landowners? Would they be the people who live in the property, or could they just be individuals like you or me? You can see there's a paragraph for each one. These are not word fill exercises. You will need to complete the sentences with these. Then at the end of this, I would like you just to write a conclusion and you think who is the most important group for actually reducing crime, and give reasons for your answer. So do you think that the police should be the most important people in reducing crime, or could it be individuals? So I want to see your opinions. And when you're done, you can take a picture of your work and send it to your teacher via the Firefly app and send response. So you can pause the video now, or you can look on Firefly to see this writing frame. So well done for doing all the work in this lesson. Now, the final task that you can choose to do is to produce a poster that could be put up around the local area, trying to help people in that local area to reduce crime. Now, this means that you can only really choose those measures that people could put in place themselves. And think about what makes a good poster. It's got to be eye-catching, and it's got to have the key information, but it doesn't want lots of writing on there. It wants to have good diagrams that might show them how to do it, and just the very key information. Again, if you want your teacher to mark it and give you some feedback, then you can send it via Firefly. So thank you very much. I hope you found this lesson interesting, and see you again soon. Bye.